websites. Today we're looking at Google Ads. So all of these tools kind of work hand in hand with each other, and they can all use the same Google account. So try and separate it from your personal and use the one you've created for Google, for business. You move this out of the way. You can see. Okay, cool. So what is Google Ads? So in a nutshell, this is the way for you to reach your customers, to kind of be in front of them when they're actually looking for what you've got. Again, this is a pre-program. The ads you pay for the way you set up the ads. So there is a cost, and you can set up your budget to kind of what you want it to be, and you can start off with something small like 250 Rand, 100 Rand, and get benefit out of being in front of customers that are looking for things that you're advertising or selling or offering when they're looking for it. So you want to use the ad to drive people to your website. So there's a little bit of a difference between organic traffic and paid for traffic. This is paid for traffic. Organic traffic is when you bring people to your site using the keywords on your website. This drives people to your website to do specific things from an ad. So you can do various things with ads. You can get more people to visit your website. You can get them to make phone calls. You can advertise specific products and drive them to that portion of your shop to buy the product. What's nice about Google Ads is you tell it what you want people to do. So this is a view of what a typical Google Ads homepage looks like. It shows you all the different campaigns that you're running. It shows you how well you're doing, how badly you're doing. It shows you, everything about your campaign that would help you to tweak it and make it better, plan for the next stage, and to bid on keywords, help you plan your keywords. And I'll go through the dashboard a little bit as we go through the presentation. So before you get started, there's a few fundamental things that you need to understand about Google Ads. And this is a checklist with the terms in them. So keywords, which is very, very, very important, is basically the phrases that you will use in your ads to target specific people. So a keyword could be anything like dentists near me. I mean, if you go into Google, and I'll show you this later, into Google search and you start typing in the keywords that are relevant to your business, Google automatically shows you what people are looking for, kind of in the last hour to a week, and it gives you some ideas. So if you're not sure how to start with a keyword, Google search will help you kind of start the process. And you can just start by clicking or typing in something like, if you're looking for a pair of ladies' shoes, you're going to go and type in either the brand name, or if you don't know what the brand name is, you're going to type in shoes. That's where you'll start. Google will give you some options, and then you'll refine your search further to high heel shoes, whatever the height is of the heel, the color, and that's all the keywords. Those are the things that you would use in your ad to attract people back to your website or to do what you wanted to do from the advert. The bid, this is the maximum amount of money you're kind of willing to pay on how you set up your ad. So they could be clicks or visits or impressions or specific tasks that you want people to do along the journey of the ad. And that could be down to, you could say, I want to spend no more than 14 Rand a click, or I don't want to spend more than 500 Rand for the period of this campaign that I'm running. The quality score, this is very important. The reason why I started with Google My Business and then Search Console and spoke about websites is because all of those things add to your quality score. And this is a metric that Google uses to kind of measure your website and kind of tell if it's a good or bad website, if you're interactive. And obviously, the more you do on your website, the more people you have visiting, the more quality content you have, the better your quality score is. The quality score will also help you reduce the cost of your ad. So if you've got a great quality score, the cost of your click is going to be far less than your competitor who might have a really bad quality score. The ad rank basically determines, where your ad will show up in the relevant area of people looking for kind of what you're advertising, and it's also takes into factors like your quality score and the keywords that you're using. Cost per click. This is the actual amount you'll pay for the amount of clicks on your ad. So every time somebody clicks on your ad, you'll be charged a specific amount. And we'll go through, I'll show you how you can kind of get a benchmark on what that would be as we progress through the presentation. And I'll take you through some examples on how to gauge that for yourself going forward. And obviously a conversion, this is probably the best way to run an ad. And you tell the ad that you want somebody to land on your website. So somebody clicks on your ad and goes to your website, you'll pay for that. If you want them to go through to your website and fill in a form, you only pay for that action, which is the person fills in the form and clicks the submit button. You can tell the ad that you're setting up that is the kind of conversion you want, or you want them to go complete cart or pay cart or whatever the case is on your website. And only once they do that, do you kind of pay for the cost of the conversion. So as we move on, let's talk about organizing your account. So if you're starting your account from the beginning, if you set it up properly right from the get-go, you're going to get more benefit out of it going forward. So as you can see, there's a bit of a layout here. Obviously, your Google account sits on top, and you have your campaigns below that, your ad groups below that, and then your keywords. And all of this feeds in together to help you build and set up your campaigns. So there's some examples on the left-hand side here. It's talking about sneakers and handbags. So if you kind of create different groups for your campaigns, depending on how you set up your ads, some smart ads will give you these facilities off the bat. So you'll create an ad in 3 or 4 different versions. So depending on what people are searching for and how they're searching, that portion of your ad will be presented to that person, depending on how you set it up. So obviously, as you can see in group 1, part of the campaign, we're talking about leather. In group 2, we're talking about clutch and handbags. So we're focusing purely on handbags. And then group 3 is to enhance or complete the handbag deal with wallets and purses. So you structure your ad a little bit differently each time to get a better, spread across what people are kind of looking for. So as I mentioned with the shoe, if you just go type in shoes into Google, you're going to be bombarded with a whole bunch of information that you don't really want. So if you set up your ads to refine that search, so if somebody's looking for a blue shoe with a 8 centimeter, I don't know how these things get, heel with toe straps in Johannesburg, you will change your ad groups and your AdWords to kind of fall into that net of what people are kind of looking for. And then let's talk about setting your budget. This is very important. Setting up your budget is not about how much money you're going to spend. You've got to look at the whole picture. So obviously, the first thing you got to decide is, I've got a budget of whatever it is. In this scenario, we're talking about $1,500. You don't have to go so high. It could be 1,500 Rand or 250 Rand. But you've got to decide, after you've done all the research on the keywords and things like that, what you think you're going to pay. So in this scenario, they don't want to pay more than $5 per click. And out of that, they should probably have 300 visitors that come to their website. So you can set yourself up a little budget plan like this in a spreadsheet. It doesn't take very long. And you can kind of work out what you want to achieve from your ad. It's always good to have a strategy and a plan before you just go throw money at things. I'm sure we do that in life. I mean, when you go shopping, you've got 2,000 Rand to spend on groceries or whatever that amount is. You try not to go over it because that's what you've got, and you try and fit in what you can into the budget. The same thing goes with Google Ads. Don't just throw money at it. Plan it properly according to what you're trying to achieve, and make sure that you use the right ads to accommodate your budget. So we talk about keyword planning. This is probably the most important thing you're going to do before you start any AdWords. As you can see here, I've got a screenshot of what Google search does. So we've typed in there how keyword planner, and as you can see, at the time that we prepared this presentation, the keywords that were being used quite regularly in the last month, week, and hours were the following: how does keyword planner work? How Google keyword planner works? So if you're planning your keywords and you're not sure what they are, there's an option. You always got to try and use long tail keywords, which is more than one, because if you're going to put down, in this example, keyword planner, there's hundreds of companies out there that use that keyword. So if you want people to visit your site with that keyword, you're probably going to pay a truckload of money on that click, and you're going to be competing with really big companies. So if you take a long tail keyword in this, like you see in this example, how to use keyword planner in 2020 as an example, it's longer, and it gives you more options to meet the customers or be presented in front of the customers that are looking to get or attain whatever you're offering. On the right hand side, there's a free little tool at the bottom. There's a link which you guys will get, keywordseverywhere.com. I'll show you what that looks like in a little bit, but it gives you additional suggestions. After you hit enter in your keyword search on Google, it comes back and says, here are similar related keywords. It gives you the volume of, how many times it's been searched for in the last month, what the average cost per click is, and how heavy the competition is. There it says comp, obviously the higher the number, the more competition there is. If you are competing against those people and you want to be better than them, so the higher the number, obviously the more competitive it's going to be. And if you're competing with somebody in your industry that's got a bigger budget than you, your cost per click is gonna obviously increase significantly. So when planning keywords, there's a couple of ways. Well, there's a few ways of choosing the right keywords. So this list is also a nice way to kind of get a feel for how to plan them. So a broad match is, like I mentioned earlier, keyword planner, or in this case, light fitting or lighting fixture. So basically, if somebody's searching for a light, or any of these examples below, so lighting fixture, outdoor light, how to replace a broken light, that keyword will potentially, in your ad, will potentially be presented to anybody looking for the options below under appears for. In the modified broad match is you're now wanting to be a little bit more specific on the lighting side, so you add a plus in front of it. And as you can see, it becomes a little bit more focused in who you're presenting your ad to. And then the phrase match, you put your phrase or your words in curly brackets, exclamation marks, no? I can't think what the name of that is now. Inverted commas, there we go. And it becomes a lot more specific. So people looking for, obviously, a lighting fixture in specific areas will be shown your ad, and it's a lot more focused. The exact match, obviously, you put it into square brackets, and obviously it will go to specific people looking for that exact item. And then obviously negative match, which is a great way to avoid paying for clicks where you don't really want to be. So you can kind of go. Sorry. So if you, I mean, when you're setting up your keywords initially, you want to create a negative keyword list. So that you don't.
Sorry, Renato, please may I just interrupt? Lesedi? Look, okay, great, thank you.
Thank you. So from a negative match perspective, I mean, you can exclude words that you don't want your ad to be shown up in. So in this example, you've got cheap, used, or a wall lighting fixture. So you put a minus in front of the word where you don't want to show up. So if somebody's looking for a wall fixed light, your ad won't show up, which means you won't be paying for the impression. And if it was shown up, you won't be paying for the click. but it will only show up for ceiling lights or a new lighting fixture or anything that's not set up. So as I said, when you start with your keywords plan, I mean, if you do a search on Google for negative keywords, there's a long list, and it includes things like X-rated content, school books, and PDFs, and free downloads, and there's a list. There's probably about 40 or 50 keywords. If you can download those and stick them into your negative keyword list off the bat, clean out what you don't really want, it'll help your ads not show up in any of those kind of places. I mean, if you're the kind of place that sells, I don't know, sex toys, then you'd remove the XXX part of the negative keywords because you kind of want to be in that area. But if you're a company that writes novels or shares blog posts and things like that, and you don't want to be in that kind of arena, you add any one of those words related to your negative keyword list. So you kind of do it up front, so then you don't have to go do the negative match in all your ads, because Google then knows you've already got a list. I don't want to be there or be shown in any of those areas. So the next step is you've planned your keywords, you know what your budget is, you kind of want to get your ad going. Best practices is, make sure your landing page is ready for your adverts. So if you're advertising a specific product that you want to sell, make sure that the link in your ad goes directly to that product page. And that the content on the page is sufficient and matches your ad, and it's got a little bit, obviously you've got a little bit more information, and then also the call to action must be quite prominent. So in this case, I mean, if you wanted to sell a product, you could have the pay now or place in cart or add to cart button quite prominent with nice pictures, good writing, explaining the product. If you don't have that in place, then if you want somebody to download an ebook or something, make sure you send them or create a page that specifically has the information about the ebook with, I don't know, if you've got it gated, which means somebody has to sign up for it, make sure that your form has got the right details that you want, and that pops up first before they move any further. Did somebody say something? Is there a question there?
No, it sounds like someone's not on mute. Okay. No, Renato, thank you.
So the next thing you got to do is, obviously now, as I mentioned, you've done Google My Business, you've done Search Console, you've got analytics all set up, and you've had a look at how people are visiting your website. Make sure you target those devices when you're setting up your ad. So if you want, if you've got 60% of your visitors are coming from a mobile phone, make sure your ad is targeting mobile phones or people on mobile devices. You don't want to visit people that are on their desktops because they don't really come to your websites very often. Use the focus approach of using the device that people are visiting your website regularly on. And I mean, today, majority of people, there's probably about 60 to 70% of people just in South Africa use a mobile device to browse the internet, to buy things online. So if you've got a product that you try to sell online, make sure that it is mobile friendly, make sure your ad is mobile friendly and aimed at people with mobile devices. So the more information you add to your Google Adwords, the more specific you are, the potential of reaching the customers and shoppers and people that you actually want to reach is far greater. So the more you give Google ads from an information perspective, the more focused your ad is going to be in reaching the people that you want to reach. So we're going to quickly run through this. I think the first thing when you're setting up your Google ads, you're obviously going to go google.co.za/Google ads. When you log it into your profile, in the top right corner, there's a picture of a little spanner. It says tools and settings. First thing you're going to do is you've got to go link to your account. So you kind of want to link your analytics account. You want to link your ads account. to your, to as much of the profiles that you use within Google as possible, because then it gathers information from all of these things, and it gives you a better view of, while you're trying to plan your ads. So it gives you a lot more information. The first thing you got to do is set it up to link to Search Console, My Business, etc. The next thing you do is, when you're planning your ads, obviously you're going to go through the keyword planner. What is this? Okay, let's talk a little bit about ads and the basics, and give you some examples on ads. So I just want to let you know that my bread and butter is in search engine optimization. The first place I start when growing a new site is through content and links. That's our number one go-to strategy, and it's a strategy I recommend most of the time. But if you're the kind of person that wants results right now, SEO and content is powerful, simply put, but it's also the most profitable way to scale your website over a long term. But obviously it takes time, and if you're a little bit impatient, we can kind of start looking at Adwords, which is the complete opposite to that. So, I mean, you can, with an ad, you can kind of get up and running in less than an hour. And if you do it right, by following the things I've put into the presentation, you could possibly start generating leads in less than an hour. And the best part is it's obviously performance-based. So you see results instantly. You can track what people are doing, etc. So a little bit earlier, we were talking about PPC, pay per click. It's a little bit different from other advertising models like banner ads and CPM, which is cost per 1,000 impressions, because you're not paying for eyeballs, instead you're paying for results. So basically no results, which is no clicks, no leads, or no sales, you don't pay. It's as simple as that. But obviously that's not the only benefit. When people go to Google, as I mentioned, they're usually looking for something specific. That means they have intent. They're actively looking for something to buy, potentially something that you've got, and they're literally telling you, "I'm ready to buy. I want what you've got, and I'm looking for your products and services." This is why Google AdWords is so powerful and can be so profitable. So there isn't any better search engine marketing out there than Google Ads. So basically, around the world, out of every $3 spent on Google gets about a dollar out of that. And obviously, this is their greatest source of income. So they want to take what you're offering and give it to the right people at the right time. So, it becomes cost effective, and they bring you guys back to run ads over and over and over again. But you've got to understand that 95% of Google's $60+ billion in revenue annually comes from AdWords. And there's over 1 million other businesses that use this product, Google Ads. So as you can see here, there's some companies out there that are spending some serious money. And this is kind of where I was talking about competition earlier. If you're competing against somebody that's got a really big budget, try and avoid using the same keywords that they're using. Otherwise, $6,600 a day. Can you imagine what they're paying on clicks? If you've got a 500 Rand budget, you're not going to get anywhere near that if you're using the same keywords. So Google AdWords is a marketplace where companies pay to have their website ranked at the top of search results based on the keywords they've put into their ads. So as you can see from this illustration, Google loves big brands, obviously because they spend a lot of money, and they like having them in their search rankings because it attracts people to come and have a look and use Google, which is why they're winning in the market. But I think you've also got to understand, and there's another example about two pizza companies in the States. So for Racker's Pizza, it's going to be quite difficult for them to rank higher than like Domino's or a Pizza Hut. Doesn't matter how much better their pizza is, they're still going to have a tough time, reaching up to their level. But there is a way to cheat AdWords, and AdWords kind of lets you cheat. So instead of waiting around, building up an arsenal of content and links over the course of months, you can jump straight to the #1 position, like Grubhub over here and Ruckus Pizzeria, through an ad. So Grubhub was able to take over #1 from Domino's for one of the best keywords in the industry. And then Ruckus Pizzeria, so kind of like a no-named place, it's not very big, it's only known in a region, was able to break down Domino's, neck by just being below them. So if you plan it right, and you could potentially end up quite close to the big players in your area. AdWords also likes to give you a little bonus. It can help you reveal the money-making keywords in your industry. So just by spending a few bucks, you can discover which keywords convert the best. So you can take, them back to your content and SEO strategy. The AdWords marketplace works as an auction. So you won't, when you're planning your ad and you've set your budget, you don't always know what you're going to spend. And because everything's kind of put on an auction, so you compete with other people around, the quality of keywords, the quality of websites, and that kind of thing. So basically, if your ads are good and you've got great quality keywords and you've got a solid bid, that means you'll win and knock somebody like Domino's off the top of the pedestal. So it takes a little bit of time to master Google Ads. It's a bit of trial and error, but you've got to be patient with it. Yes, I did say that you can start seeing sales within the first hour, which is not untrue, but you will pay for that. And you just got to be, as you're learning, that cost will become less and less. And as you find the right keywords and use them correctly, your ads will become more prominent and better focused. So the other thing you've got to understand is try not to complicate things in your ad. Try and keep it as simple as possible. I know the interface is very complex. It's very easy to get lost when you start creating ads. Try and keep it as simple as possible. Do as little as the platform allows. So while you're setting up ads, you'll see that certain questions will be highlighted, certain areas will be marked with a little red star, and if you try and go beyond it, Google won't allow you to complete your ad until you've filled in those certain areas. It also gives you, Google also kind of helps you through the ad and gives you like a little temperature gauge on the side of your ad, kind of saying, for the best effect and the best reach of your ad, try and do the following. So it might be adding a few more headings, different variations of headings, changing your content or description for 2 or 3 different areas, depending on the kind of ad that you set up, just to broaden your reach and the opportunity to reach more people. So, like I said, be patient. 99% of people who lose money on AdWords simply quit too early or spend too much too fast. So be patient. It does take time. So here's a quick look of what a campaign looks like from a Google analytics perspective. As you can see, there's a lot of things that you can track. So if we run through there's a red button that says campaign. We run through the top headings. So obviously campaign is what you name it. Remember to name it your campaign so you can kind of differentiate things between campaigns. So name it effectively. It shows you what your budget is per day or for the period. Your status will obviously tell you if your ads are running. In this case, they're paused, which you can do at any point in time that you want, or they've ended because you've set a start and finish date, and if it's past the finish date, the status will show that it's ended. The campaign type is, so there's 3 different areas that you can set up your campaigns. So search network is when you go google.co.za and type in the search. There's the display network, which is, I mean, if you've been onto a news website before, like a News 24, you usually got ads that pop up on the side or at the top or in the middle of the article that you're reading. That is called a display network. And that could be a still image, or it could be a little GIF that runs and changes text and things like that. The campaign subtype kind of just explains what you've selected. And in this case, I've selected all the features. I mean, you can whittle it down to more or less what you're willing to take on. Shows you how many times your ads have been clicked. Under clicks, impressions, IMPR, is how many times your ad's been seen. The click-through rate, there's a calculation to kind of calculate that click-through rate, if you like, on your own. I'm not going to talk about that today. That's quite technical, but basically they're saying out of 1,246 impressions, 14 people clicked, which is a 1.12% click rate. And I think the average click rate around the world, the best you'll get is probably about a 2% click rate. The next is average CPC, is cost per click. So for every click, they've paid €1.33, and the total cost under cost is obviously €18. The average position is 1, so they've been seen basically on the first page of search results. Conversions, these guys haven't set up any conversion measurements, so your conversions could be, like I said earlier, submit your email address to sign up to our newsletter, or complete a purchase process, which is add something to your cart, check out, and then pay. So they haven't measured any of that. And then normally when you're setting up a conversion, it asks you what is the average cost of your conversion, or what is the actual average income for a conversion. So if you've got a product that sells for 100 Rand, you'll tell them that a conversion will cost me 100 Rand, but I generally have one item in a cart. Obviously, depending on how your business works, I mean, you can put in a lot more information. It then comes back to you and says your average cost conversion would be $100 less the 1859 euros, whatever it is. And then your conversion rate from that campaign, which shows you how well your ad has, how many deals it's kind of closed, and what the rate is. Further up, if we go back to all campaigns, it kind of breaks the campaigns down into various sections. So every campaign belongs to an ad group, and every ad group has an ad, and every ad has keywords, and every ad has an audience that you're focusing on. And not all ads have ad extensions, but as was mentioned earlier, with the temperature gauge that Google offers you, you can add like create a dynamic ad that has an extension that says, call me now. Or you can have an ad extension that says, get directions on Google Maps to your front door, or, so those are kind of ad extensions. And you can click on each of those tabs and set up and tweak any one of those options on each of your ads. Okay. So let's talk about interaction rate. So back in the old days, you could bid on pretty much any kind of keyword you wanted to. It was a straight auction. You that didn't factor in the relevance between what someone was searching for or what you were advertising. So recently, the quality score is what kind of changed that all, that Google kind of implemented and changed that. So the metric combines several factors in order to effectively determine how good your offer is for someone's search. So this is where it gets a little bit nerdy. It's quite critical to understand the basic fundamentals if you're going to start spending into the thousands of each month. So each keyword in your account will get its own quality score. So even two keywords within the same ad group, we'll get to that in a second, can have different quality scores. So that's the first factor that you're looking at for relevancy. For example, let's say someone searches for snowboard rentals. I don't know if you have any ideas of what the keyword phrase would have the higher relevance score. I'll give you two examples here. So snowboard rentals in Johannesburg or skiing rentals in the Alps. It should be simple, right? It seems, the keywords are quite relevant and related to the area that the people are in. And it should be quite obvious which would be the better fit. So the same thing kind of happens though in your campaign when you're using keyword phrases like, let's stick with snowboard. So snowboard rentals, snowboard rental pricing, snowboard rentals in, I don't know, Lake Tahoe. So this time they're all pretty relevant, but depending on the popularity of each, you ideally want to be as specific as possible. So you basically want to create individual ads or even create new campaigns for each specific keyword. Because of the second factor in your account, the click-through rate, both historical and you're kind of expected is kind of looked at. So your ads will get impressions, which are views, and actual clicks. Your click-through rate, which is the short term is CTR, is a calculation of clicks from views. A higher click-through rate generally means that your ad and keyword relevancy is better than others with a lower click-through rate. So Google will look at your older click-through rates, so it measures all of this, and also forecast future ones in order to determine how well your ad matches somebody's search. So all of these factors kind of deal with your actual AdWords account. So we mustn't forget, on the flip side of the coin, you've also got to look at what your landing page looks like and where the place people will go to when they click on your ad. It needs to be relevant to what somebody has searched for. In the case of example I use with snowboard rentals, and your ad would bring up that kind of information and make sure that your landing page talks about that. I mean, you don't want somebody that's looking for snowboard rentals to land on a page where you're selling costumes to swim in the summer. Obviously, your page also needs to be user-friendly and very easy to navigate and doesn't look sketchy. You don't want people to bounce off. You obviously want them to stick around and go through the sale process. If people bounce off of your page because for whatever reason, that bounce rate is also added to your quality score. So if people stick around on your page longer and do what you actually wanted to do on the page, like click, add to cart, check out cart, pay, you get obviously they've stuck around longer, so your bounce rate reduces because people are sticking around longer. If your bounce rate increases, so people land on your page, spend a few seconds there and then leave, that adds negatively into your Google ad quality score. Are there any questions? I know this becomes quite technical. There's a lot to think about. No? Okay.
Doesn't seem like there's any questions.
So let's talk about the bid, quality score, ranking, and costs. So this is a brilliant visual from a company called WordStream that kind of illustrates how the bid process works. So the cost per clicks in your own industry might vary based on demand of people searching for what you've got and how competitive your industry is. So let's, like an example of the automotive industry might only set you back a few bucks for a click, but in competitive industries like insurance and law, and I've personally seen costs per click ranging from anything between 500 and 1,000 Rand a click. So you might be kind of asking yourself, how can you afford to pay 500 Rand for a click? That seems like really expensive. But guess what? AdWords is actually pretty cheap if you know what you're doing. So let's think about the lawyers, for example. So if out of every click, which costs them $500 or $1,000, they get somebody to come and sit in front of them and pay that fee that they offer. So I think what's an average lawyer cost is like 5,000 Rand an hour. You know, the return is massive. So 500 to 1,000 Rand a click, and you make 5,000 Rand out of that. You know, that's pretty good return. Any questions before I move on to setting up Google Ads? Does this make sense?
We have a question from Mark Renato.
Sure. Yep.
He says, you suggested downloading some tools like for keywords or negative keywords. What is safe to download for free?
We'll get to that. Mike, a little bit of, firstly, a couple of pages back, I gave you a link for Keywords Anywhere. It's a great tool. It's a little plugin that plugs into Firefox, it plugs into Google Chrome and various other platforms, other search websites. That's a good start, and I'll show you how that works in a little bit. I'll kind of take you through a demo.
Thanks, Renato. Okay,
so let's talk about, I mean, there's a link. That's kind of where you're going to go to when you first set up Google Ads. You've already got your Gmail account that you created for your business. So obviously in this case, you're just going to sign in. It'll ask you for a few things, you know, where's your website? What email address are you going to be using? So setting up your first campaign, this is kind of an example of setting up a search text-only campaign. So as I mentioned earlier, set up your budget in an Excel spreadsheet, kind of decide what you want to spend. I mean, your budget in this case, they set it up per day. You can set that up for the lifetime. So if you want to spend 10 Rand a day, you can set it up that way. If you want to spend 500 Rand a month, or for the week that you're running an ad, you can change that to per week, per month, or for the duration of the actual ad. Locations, if you're focusing on Gauteng as your market, make sure that you select in the area, in the location, that area only. So I mean, you don't want people in Cape Town clicking on your ads, and you don't want to do business in Cape Town. So focus your territory. I mean, if you want to focus your ad in a specific area like Randburg only, I mean, you can drill down to that kind of depth with this tool. I mean, if you got a Google My Business place, you could click on the location under locations and say, I only want to go within 5 kilometers of Google My Business address. So you can be quite specific about your location, or as broad as you like. If you want to go out of the country, remember that you will be competing against people in the other country that you're in, and you'll be paying the same, if not more, rates that they're paying in whatever currency they're using. The network.
Yes. Renato, may I ask you a question, please?
Absolutely, you just did.
So, does Google give you the keywords, or can you put in your own keywords? Hannah is asking.
Okay, so Google will make recommendations once you've got an ad running, but the best practice is to create your own initially. So
okay.
You got to, I mean, I'm going to go through Keyword Planner as one of the first steps that you enter into before you set up your ads.
Okay, and then the tools that you suggested for keywords, is it safe to download this for free?
Absolutely, we'll get to that, but yes.
Okay, thank you.
And then, obviously, yeah, it's asking you for keywords, so it's best practice to put keywords in. When you select this option, it'll ask you if you want to use a saved keyword plan, which I'll show you how to do just on Keyword Planner, or to create new keywords. So this kind of answers the question. You know, you've got to put something in when you first start planning your advert. And then your bid, I mean, how do you want to pay for your bid? Do you want to do it manually or automatically? So Google will obviously looking at your score, like I showed that little diagram a couple of pages back, determine how much you'll pay and where you'll be ranked and how competitive your rate will be. So there's two ways of doing that. Initially, I'd say let Google help you until you kind of understand a bit better how it all works. And then the next portion is, write your ad. So this is where you've got the content that you want to add. My suggestion is there's a certain amount of characters that you can put into this ad. While you're doing your budget, maybe start preparing what you want in your ad, in this case, the text ad. There's a formula that you can put into a cell in Excel that will count the amount of characters that you have. And a text ad, I think the maximum amount of characters you can have is 160. That's similar to Twitter. So if you plan your content and the text for your ad beforehand, you won't have to go back and forth with Google when you go and click save and continue, and Google will kind of say, hang on, you've got too much text and you've got to go rewrite it. So if you plan it before, count the amount of characters you've written, you can basically just copy and paste that into your new ad. So let's talk about these things. So Google asks you like a truckload of questions. I mean, if you haven't done the research yet, what are these things? So I'll kind of just explain to you what each bit is. So obviously deciding on how much you want to spend, you've done your budget, so you know what you want to spend. So your target audience, as I mentioned earlier, is where you are wanting your ad to run. Is it within 5Ks of your business, or is it the whole of South Africa, or do you want it to run in Europe or the States? Spoken about your bid, how do you want to do that manually or with Google's help? And then writing your ad is, plan it in an Excel spreadsheet, count your characters so it's easier for you to move through each of the steps with simplicity and speed. So there was, I think when I mentioned under networks, there were a few options. So I touched on search, which is basically just a text ad. Then you get the option to select search and display. So you can, when you select that option, it will give you two versions of your ad while you're putting it together. One will be just the text version, typing your text and off you go. The next will be the display, where you can put in your text as well as some images or a video. Or you can select display only, where it could be just pictures and video. You could, I don't know if anybody's searched on Google before and seen the options just under the search results, or just above the search results. Under the search bar, you've got all videos, shopping. The network option that you can select is also under shopping, so you could put in an image of your product. And when somebody says, I'm looking for the following, and they look in the shopping next to it, which is what Google offers, your ad will show up in the shopping area. And then also you can run video ads, which is if you're running a YouTube channel, you could put videos into your ad and run a video ad. So I'm quickly going to run through this. I think this is just a step-by-step guide on how to do it, so you guys can do this afterwards on your own. We mentioned target audience. You can specify exactly where you want your audience to be. If you're not sure, you can obviously click on advanced search and you can drill down a bit further into your region area that you kind of type in there as an example. This gives you an idea of the differences between search and display. So the search network is the stuff that you find either in the ad, right at the top of your search when you do a search on Google. The display is all the images and videos and things that you kind of see on the sides of blogs and things like News24, etc. So I think this kind of answers your question, Hannah, about keywords. It says in the beginning, add between 15 and 20 keywords. This is where the planning comes in beforehand with Keyword Planner. So you can create a keyword plan for each of your campaigns. And you can bring that in on your own, or if you go click on the ad options, it gives you things that you can kind of choose from and relevant keywords that kind of match your ad. And Okay. Well, it seems like this is going backwards. Okay, cool. So let's talk about Keyword Planner. So, I've had a couple of questions about how to, keywords and how to set them up. Keyword Planner gives you kind of two options. So when you, in your Google Ads platform on the main page, as you can see on the top right corner, there's the little tools button. Click on that, click on Keyword Planner. It gives you two options. So if you don't know what your keywords are, you can click on Discover New Keywords. It'll guide you through the process, and you've got to start with something. And in your case, you'd probably start something like soap or beauty products, and then it will give you a whole bunch of examples in that realm to help you build your keyword list. If you've already got a keyword list, you'd kind of go and have a look at get the volumes and forecasts, because that's quite important, because it kind of determines, it helps you determine what you're going to pay on those keywords and how competitive they are when you send out your ads. I'll take you through that in a little bit. So basically, it says, in this example, we've said discover new keywords. So we type something in there like soap, beauty products, or natural beauty products, whatever the case is. It will start giving the option to either add them or include additional results or examples. And then the next thing is, if you're not too sure about your keywords and you've got a website, if you enter your domain in or your website address, it helps you pull keywords from your website, because you've already created the content, and you can use the keywords in your content to add to your ads. From a forecast perspective, whatever your keyword is, so the keyword planner kind of gives you an idea of what your keywords will give you. So if you've got a list of, I don't know, 5 or 10 keywords, it will say you potentially get 50 clicks. It tells you how many impressions you'll probably get in the space of a month, how much it's potentially going to cost you, what your daily budget should kind of be, what your click-through rate could potentially be. These are not obviously cast in stone. I mean, depending on how good everything is that you put together, that rate could go up or down, and then average cost per click. So these are the numbers that you kind of use to plan your ads using those specific keywords. So this is part of what you would add to your little budget. Google gives you the number, so you don't have to go and calculate it yourself. So if you create your keywords and say, okay, cool, I've got a total cost of, this is $663, which is about 1,200 Rand. You can kind of say, I don't want to spend so much money. I want my budget to be 600. So everything here kind of becomes half, and you can kind of plug that into your spreadsheet and plan your ad from there. Okay, let's go into a demo. So let's change my screen. Let's start off with, so everybody's asking about the keyword planner. This is the company. It's called Keywords Everywhere. So keywordseverywhere.com is the address. Let me zoom in. I hope you can see all of this. And it's a free extension. I will show you what it looks like in a second. So I'm just going to move this down. I'm using Google Chrome at the moment, so it's a free plugin. I have already added it to Chrome, and I'll show you what it does for you. So if we go to Google and we want to do a search, and let's go natural beauty, you see how it brings up keywords there. It's giving me examples of what people are searching for, and they've been searching for in the last week. So natural beauty products in South Africa, does this relate to me? Take a note of that. Put that somewhere as, you're going to add this to your keyword list. These are great ideas, and this is free. It doesn't cost you anything. Google knows what's happening in its environment all the time. So use this information when you're planning your ads. Let's go natural beauty soap. So again, you can see what people are kind of looking for. And obviously, the longer the keywords are, and remember, I spoke about the positive, negative keywords. you can use all of this to help you plan. So Hannah, in your case, I mean, you sell bars of soap, so natural beauty bar soap would obviously be a really good keyword for you to use. And then again, with bath, natural beauty soaps would be another great one. If you're selling them online, obviously you want to use the shop in this keyword. So you'd have different variations of the keyword in your planner. Or you can have natural beauty soap, and then you can add plus bar, plus bath, plus shop in your keyword, planning, to add more relevance and more focus to what you're looking for. Let's have a look at what that keywords everywhere does. So now this is the search I've done. You can kind of see everything it brings up. On the right, you can kind of see the relevance and the trend of those keywords over a certain period of time. So this area here is a keywords everywhere tool or plugin that I've got. So it kind of gives me, the trend over the last period. So it's years in this case. You can see the trend has kind of dropped a bit. So that might not be such a great keyword to use. But let's have a look at 7 days. How's the trend? You see it's up and down. So it kind of gives you some feedback on, is it a great keyword to use? When's a good time to use it? So in this case, on the 25th of October at 3 a.m., it was quite low. People weren't really looking for it. But at 4 a.m., people started looking for it. So you could schedule your ad to run at 4 o'clock in the morning when people are looking for the soap, for this specific keyword. So it helps you in planning. And you can schedule the ads to run specific times, not to run specific days. I mean, if you are a shop that's not open on a Saturday and a Sunday, don't run your ads on a Saturday and Sunday because no one's going to be able to click on your ad and then go buy the product from you if you're not an online shop. So you're going to get a click and you're going to pay for that click and you're not going to get any return on it. Then over here, it gives you related keywords. So to grow your keyword list, to make sure that you reach the people that are potentially looking for natural beauty soap, but what are the other things that they're looking for? How to make the soap, if you want to sell them your recipes, that's an option. If you've got a pledge of some sort around your soap to say, it's natural and we follow a specific process, this might be a keyword that you use. And I mean, you can kind of click on more metrics and it shows you more information about how many times it gets searched in a month, how many times it gets clicked on in a month, what's the average cost per click. If you like these keywords over here, or any one of these, you can actually export them into the Excel spreadsheet and then import them into your keyword planner. So this is how you start doing research on your keywords in Google itself. Google Ads actually offers you its own tool. It's called, not this one, Keyword Planner. Just refresh. So I've basically gone to tools over here. Let's zoom in. So I've clicked on tools and I've clicked on Keyword Planner. It has opened this page. As I showed you earlier, you got 2 options. You can get search volumes and forecasts. This is if you want to work towards a budget. And this is how you start out right in the beginning and you don't know what your keywords are or you want specific keywords. Remember, you've got to have 2 plans. One is a positive and one is a negative keyword. So let's just do a quick search on Google to give you an idea of what I was saying. Negative Google Ads keywords. So I think this will show you as a guide. So these guys should give you a list of what negative keywords are to you specifically, or this is not what I wanted. I wanted to show you a list. And see if this gives us, there we go. So this is a consideration for negative keywords. So if you, we'll talk about hand and soap. I mean, unless you're offering a job, you wouldn't use these keywords. And you wouldn't want somebody searching for these keywords to link back to your ad and click on your ad. So somebody might be asking natural beauty soap career. Unless you're offering a job or looking for somebody to hire somebody, you would exclude these. So these would either be, you'd either create a negative keyword list on Google Keyword Planner, or you'd add these as a negative. So you'd add minus salaries to your Google keyword list. So that little bar chart I showed you earlier with the on how to focus your ad using keywords, you know, the square brackets, the inverted commas, you could probably do that. But these lists can be quite extensive. And there's a lot of keywords that you probably, which are generic, which you wouldn't want to kind of advertise on. So, I mean, you wouldn't want your ad to land on a Microsoft site where somebody's looking for, I don't know, something that Microsoft has done with one of their customers. I can't think of the word now. And it's been a soap company. You don't want a developer to click on your ad because they're looking for something that Google's done or Microsoft's done in the past. So there's lists and lists out there that you can copy and paste into your own negative keyword planner that cover many, many different areas. And then you can kind of keep that negative key list active all the time and across all your campaigns. So if you set it up from an account level, I showed you that diagram in the beginning, which kind of showed your account, then your ads, and then the different parts of your ad, all the way down to, you know, your keywords. If you've set your negative keywords at an account level, you won't have to reset negative keywords on each and every ad. You can just point it at your negative keyword plan. So if we had to kind of quickly click on one of these, you can kind of see it defaults to certain areas already. If you know what your keywords are, you can kind of start punching them in here and adding them. Or if you're not sure, you can kind of use your website to help you with keywords. Let's use what's it? Adwords.co.za. These are the guys that we've been kind of using throughout the process of the sessions that I've been doing. So it doesn't show any keyword ideas here. Did I get the email address right? Locksmiths. I'm really getting this bad. There we go. If you use your website, it should give you a couple of ideas. Let's see if there we go. So if we're doing a forecast on keywords, this is the kind of information you'll get. So this says, because the emergency locksmiths in South Africa, there's between 10 and 100 searches on average in a month for that keyword. You can kind of search. If you click on any one of these headers, you can change it to sort by that specific column. So locksmiths near me, I mean, there's 10,000 to 100,000 searches a month. The competition is not very big, it's medium. The average cost is obviously in the middle of this, if somebody clicks on that. So this is the keyword planner and the information that you'll get. I mean, you can drill down into becoming a lot more specific by changing the dates, changing the network. I mean, if you don't want to focus on Google and you want to use one of the other search engines, you can change it over here. You can change your language if you don't want it in English, or if you want English and another language. If you want to change your location, I mean, if you wanted to be more specific and go Gauteng, it changes all of the, so we don't want, let's take that out. And so now it will change the values and the look and the costs and everything specific to the region. Any questions? We've gone a little bit over.
Renato, there's nothing that's come through in the chat box.
I've got a question.
Yes.
Sure.
Renato, I held on to it because I did mention it quickly end of last week, and you offered for me to follow up with you. I don't know if maybe you want me just to stay on till the end once everyone's left, but it's basically that I went back upon your advice with my payment issue, that it says from Google Ads that it's pending and I've got to fix something, and when it kind of points me in the direction of automatic payment details, it's grayed out and I can't even change anything to fix it, even though initially it asks me to fix it. But when I look into it, it does say that could be that they still checking it out and, you know, reviewing it, but it's been like 3 weeks.
Okay. On this page, can you see my screen still? Is it this page that you're looking at?
Yes.
And this is all grayed out, or the payment is grayed out?
I can't even get back to that screen. I mean, initially I obviously put in card details, but now it just says my company's details, like billing information, and then at the very bottom it shows that I chose automatic payment, but that's grayed out. I can't actually click it to get into this page and see more detail of you know, the exact card details I put in. I can't even change that.
Oh, okay. I think obviously when we finish here, they finish the Zoom call. If you give me, I'll tell you what, give me your, you obviously put your phone number in the when you signed up. Tracy, will you guys be able to send me the list of the attendees, and then I'll give Mark a call after this.
Yes, certainly. I'll email you his number.
I should stay on and just share the screen with you or something like that.
I'm not hosting the Zoom call, Ortiz, so when we finish, they shut down the call. But
no problem.
I've got other tools we can kind of connect with afterwards, and I can take over your screen and have a look.
Perfect. Okay.
See if I can help you. Cool. I think in a nutshell, that is Google Ads and Google Keyword Research, Keyword Planner, which is quite important.